We're a little early. That's okay. Better early than late. All right, you guys, may these teachings be of benefit to you and your practices and the greater community at large. No, wow, that's a big order. Okay, very good. Jumping back. So if you have a lot of food, oh, Michelle's here, cool. If you have a lot of food in your belly or have drank a lot, adjust your expectations on the techniques and how these translate in the body. Just wanted to put that out there for sure. Hey, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
So I'll have you guys get onto your mats, and we're gonna start this session by just kind of getting right into the technique of it. The trick to jumping back is getting the knees into the chest. That's the move. Oh, we got another friend. Cool. Des, right on. Okay, so the trick to jumping back is to finding the muscles to get the knees into the chest. So what we'll do is we'll start crossing the feet at the ankles. Some practitioners, they like crossing them at the shins, the feet at the shins. Doesn't really matter to me. So crossing the feet at the shins or the ankles. And then start with your feet so that they're a little bit far away from your body, but the weight isn't in your feet completely, right? Your weight is going to be slightly rocked off your feet, shifting back into the sit bones just a little bit. And then flex your palms forward. And hold here. Now look at your knees. Make sure that your knees are pointed forward. And then bring them in towards one another just a couple of centimeters and hold here. And now find your belly muscles. Pull your navel center in towards your spine. Flex your palms. Knees pointed forward. Pull the belly muscles in. Free breathing with sound if you haven't already. And let that go. We're going to do the same thing, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that you, like myself, chose your non-struggle leg to do first. So now do your struggle leg. Cross the opposite leg over. Palms flexed, feet gently resting on the floor. Rocking the weight back just a little bit on the sit bones. Hug your belly in. Use the belly muscles. And start to breathe, free breathing with sound, feel that out. Imagine here without actually scooping the knees into the chest, that they were moving into the chest. What does that do in the belly? Hovering here. And then release that out. So our next move from here is going to be to actually bring the knees all the way up into the chest. But I want you to hold your shins with your hands and hold your legs in place. And feel what that feels like. Feel the weight of your legs in your hands and in your shoulders. That's how much engagement you need in your belly to lift up, right? Go ahead and release that down. Take a second, take a breather. And then we're going to do that same action, bringing the knees into the chest, but just using the belly muscles, not using the hands. So feet come in, ankles crossed. You can grab your shins at first, and then from here, hold your knees up as high as you can into your chest. Flex your palms forward, hold the belly in, hover here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and release that out. We're going to do the next leg right away. So crossing left over right. Cool. Knees come into the chest. And then flex and press your palms forward. Hug your knees in. Belly comes in for 4, 3, 2, and release that out. Okay, so jumping back is a 5-part scaffolding. First move is exactly what we just did, where you work on when your inhale lift up is legit just this, right? And then from here, the move is placing the hands forward of the hips. So hands are really far forward of the hips. Shift your weight into your shoulders and then step back. Go ahead and give that a go. Inhale, lift up. So that would just be the palms flexed, shins crossed, and then rocking forward into your hands and stepping back. Awesome, you guys. And then go ahead and take your other leg, the one that you haven't done yet. Nice job. Nice, guys. Yep. Really good.
What do you do if your legs get stuck? Like they don't want to let
Yeah.
go?
So if your legs are getting stuck, what that typically means is that the weight, so the feet and the hips both need to lift. And this is where I was stuck for years, where I tried to jump back off of just pressing into my feet to lift my hips up, right? So if I'm here and my feet have to hit down to touch the floor, I'm gonna need to lift my hips, keep my knees in, and press into my shoulders just as much as I'm pressing into my feet. And then from there, there's a little more space. So Michelle, I think for you, it's the feet, but it's also getting the straightening in the arms to give yourself enough space to clear through, right? Any other questions about that move?
I just feel like my stomach is not.
Not engaging?
It's not helping, like bringing the body up. So
What that means, in order to get a certain amount of buoyancy in the actual lift up, what I notice a lot of times in our practices is what we'll do when we lift up is we go like this, right? And there is a certain amount of rounding in the shoulders, but there's a lift in the chin and the chest that happens too, right? So, buddy, okay. So when I'm jumping back, hands down, if I'm here, I'm not going to be able to get the engagement in my belly, right? But if I'm lifting up through the chest and keeping the knees in, lifting chest and chin forward, then there's a little bit of an engagement there. That's integration of step 2. So let's do that now. The move is, so level 2, this is where most of you guys are kind of tinkering around and playing at, which is awesome. So level 2 would be knees into the chest, hands come forward, lift up, chin up, and then from here, you start to think about balancing in a Lolasana, lifting the feet. Did you guys see that?
Mhm.
Go ahead and let it go, yeah? So rolling forward, hands come forward, knees stay lifted, and then maybe lifting the feet up a little bit. Yes, that's it. Chest forward, chin forward. Yeah. Yeah, hands forward, Pascal, pretty far forward, yep.
I was afraid of that.
Michelle, lift, press into your arms straight. Go more into your shoulder girdle. Yeah. Knees in, straight arms. Uh-huh. Yes. What? Chest forward, chin forward. Down. Did you feel the difference? Nice. So that's the trickiest movement, I think, in jumping back, is keeping the knees in and keeping a buoyancy to get rolling forward into the shoulder girdle. So next move from there, this is like stage 3.5, stage 4, right? So your knees are in towards your chest, right? Hands are forward of your hips. You're lifting up, chest forward, chin forward, and then from there, hop, hop to step back. We've all had the hop hops. Go ahead and give that a go.
Got it.
Yeah, Mila, straighten your arms if you can. Yes, yep. That was great. How'd that feel? Oh,
It's like I've been practicing for years and I finally clicked.
yeah, right? So much of it is just giving yourself space, straightening through the arms. And also, I'm not going to call it bunda because that's obnoxious. I don't really know if that's what it is, but we'll just call it pulling the floating ribs in as well. So this whole thing kind of curls and rounds and the chin comes forward. Yes, so good. Okay, so then our fourth move from here would be, instead of a hop, hop, you just have a hop. So knees into the chest, rolling forward into your hands, inhale to lift up, and then just a hop, touch down to go back. Inhale, exhale. Yeah, go ahead and give it a go. Yep, Pascal, straight arms, straight. Yep. Yes, good, good. Nice, Des. Any questions about that?
I keep
We're-
wanting.
So when we're practicing, should we switch legs from like when we're crossing our legs?
Absolutely. I'm really happy you brought that up. That was going to be a end of the jump back clinic. So that's really important. I used to not be obnoxious about it because I hated it when teachers would correct me about it in practice. I'd be like, yo, don't mess up my flow. But it's actually really important. And it can really, if you don't switch, it can do weird stuff to the wrists, is what I've noticed manifest the most. Anyways, did I sell you on switching legs?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So our next step in jumping back is doing it without touching the ground, right? So linking all of those movements together, knees into the chest, and then that rocking forward is a little bit of a momentum, right? So you are rocking forward into the hands. There's a little bit of a momentum. You inhale up to straighten the arms. And then here's the tricky part. You have to keep everything in as you bend forward into chaturanga. Some students like to land with straight arms. I think that's fine. I like to land in chaturanga. That's just how I do it. But that lifting of the chest and the chin forward to move the body through the arms, that's the jump back portion of it. Go ahead and give that a try. So hands come further forward. Yep, Pascal, straight arms. Chest and chin forward. Yep, exactly. Chest forward, knees in. Yes. Yes. Good, good, good.
I just don't want to miss that.
Chest forward does.
I'm trying it with the other leg and it seems impossible.
The struggle thing, right?
Oh, yes, I'm not the only one.
Jess, can I see you do one?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I'm not very good at it.
No, I mean, think about it's all the same movement. It's just learning the technique, right? And then it'll get stronger. Yes, and then straightening the arms. Okay, this is really important. So when you lift up, it's on an inhale.
Okay.
And that's really, really important. So make sure that you get that nice full inhale and then exhale, step back. Don't rush that transition.
Okay.
Yeah, give it a go. Yes, nice. So I have a couple things that I wanted to throw out there, but before I get into two more technique aspects, any questions that have come up as you're going through those movements?
I'm finding that I'm putting a lot of pressure on my fifth metatarsal head.
Right.
Is that from the not extending deep enough, or?
That's from not hip. So the feet and the hips lift the same. So if the weight is in the feet too much, then you have to lift the hips more. Does that make sense? So as we're building strength in the jumping back and the jumping throughs, the feet do touch the ground, right? That's gonna happen. But the idea is, and what I found the most helpful in my practice is thinking about keeping even distribution of weight in my feet and my hip and my hips. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Any other questions?
So how far are your hands supposed to be? Because it seems to me that if I'm too close to my hips, I can't move with the rest of my body.
Yeah. So your hands are supposed to be just a little bit behind your knees when you're doing this in stage like 2.53. So here, right, let's say we're in stage 2.53, my hands are gonna come just, well, we'll call it midway on the thighs. Can you see, how would you describe that? Midway on the thighs? Sure.
Yeah, it's in front, just like being in front of the hamstrings.
Right. So just slightly in front of the hamstrings. And then from here, I inhale, lift up, use that momentum to come forward, right? If I was working in like the 1.5 area, just trying to figure out how to get this dynamic movement of chin forward and knees in, what I would do is be here, and then I would rock my hands really far forward, right? Because I'm still kind of trying to figure out, okay, how do I keep my hands really far forward, keep my knees into my chest, straighten through the arms, and wiggle the hands through, or wiggle the feet through.
Yeah.
Cool, great questions. Any other ones? Oh, I can't, sorry, Neil, I can't. You guys are muted.
Sorry, how close together should your hands be?
Oh, I love this question. Okay, so hands are shoulder distance apart, ideally, right? Now, it really depends on your hip width as well, I think. But what I found is that if you keep your hands shoulder distance apart, you just have more space to clear. And if we're going with this technique of bringing the hands forward in front of the hips, we don't ever have to worry about clearing the hips through the arms. So for all of the things that are gonna come, I've really changed my approach on teaching this, and I think that hands shoulder distance apart is definitely the way to go. That being said, if the shoulder girdle is still opening up, what I found is that doing this move initially can cause a negative reaction in the neck and in the traps. I think it has something to do with this area and this area. So what I'll often do with students is start them out a little bit wider and then eventually work the hands in with the intention that it's more fluid if you can have the hands shoulder distance apart. Cool. Nice, Dimitri. Any other questions? No? Okay, cool. So jumping through, this was just going to be a jump back clinic, but they are one and the same, the jumping through and the jumping back. And what I found is a lot of students, when they're jumping through, will have yuckies in their feet because there's so much pressure on the feet jumping through. So kind of in light of what Mila's question is, when we're jumping through, we want to have the arms straight and a buoyancy in the shoulder girdle so we can kind of clear that space between the arms. And again, the hips don't come through the arms. They're back about 2 inches from the arms. So you can have the hands shoulder distance and still be okay. So first level of jumping through is going to be hands shoulder distance apart-ish in down dog. And then when you start to jump forward, you want to think again, keeping the same energy in the feet and in the hips, right? So feet and hips lift, not just the hips, not just the feet. So inhale, come forward, and then here, right, how do I keep the weight in my feet really, really soft? And that's going to come from the belly and the shoulder girdle, right? Go ahead and give that a go, just taking it softly as you maybe even drag or walk the feet through. If you have to pause and bail, no worries. Just start to feel this out. Think round in the shoulder girdle, press straight through the arms. Nice, Des. Yeah, that's it. You got it. Yeah, Mila, and I think your move, and again, if this is too much in your neck right now, don't push it. But I think your move is going to be to straighten and pull in here to give yourself a little more space and keep the chest lifted. Any questions about this one?
Are feet pointed or flexed?
That's a great question. The feet are engaged. I've seen practitioners flex. I've seen them point. As long as you have action in the feet, that's the most important thing. When your foot is pointed, that's quadricep. When it's flexed, that is adductor and hamstring. Quadricep, adductor, hamstring. So I think about that a lot when I'm flirting with both. But just make sure the engaging the feet is there. Any other questions? Okay, cool. Oh,
When you jump through and then, I guess the more advanced, and you put your legs through, the whole legs.
right.
Not just crossed, yay?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So the full expression is the legs uncrossed as you're moving through the arms. So it would be like this.
Oh, yeah.
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 Anything else?
Should it be controlled, slow movement versus this super like flow through?
Oh, yeah, that's ultimately what we're going for. And like a slow, controlled movement on the breath. That being said, as you're learning this, and maybe this is just how I am with myself, but if you have one of those moments where you're jumping through, I call it a pshoo moment where you just kind of like lunge yourself through your arms and knock over a lamp or something. That's totally normal. It's totally fine. It's part of the process of figuring out how this stuff works. Ideally, it is slow and controlled. Anything else?
And it's another 10 years for me anyway.
And so to cap off this workshop slash mini clinic, I want to touch on 3 things to focus on. And you can pick one thing to focus on in your jump backs every day. But the 3 main things that I feel are the most important is keeping the chest and the head lifted as you jump back and jump through. Yeah, so moving from the sternum. This creates a heavy feeling. This creates a light feeling. Knees into the chest. So really working this action of knees into the chest. Chest lifted, knees into the chest. Feet and hips are light. If your feet are hitting the ground a lot, that means you got to bring it into your belly a little bit more. Oh, maybe 4 things. Sorry. Of course, over the top. So those straight arms and bringing the weight into your shoulder girdle to lift up, right? That's going to give you the space to jump back and jump through. Awesome. And all of you guys are practicing regularly. So as these techniques start to really infiltrate into your practice, pull me aside in Zoom Shala, ask questions. And my perception is that it's helpful for the whole community because everyone kind of hears when we're talking. So no question is off the table. Cool. Anything else before we wrap? No? Okay, cool. So this is recorded. I'll send a recording of this to you guys in the next couple days. And I will see you in practice in the morning.
Great.
Great work. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.